What if I told you that your favorite color is wrong? Well, kind of. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of colors and why some of these preferences might not be as straightforward as you think. To start, let's understand what color is. Color is light and light is energy. When light hits an object, certain wavelengths are absorbed and others are reflected. The reflected light is what we perceive as color. Our eyes visualize the world through cones and rods. Cones are the ones responsible for detecting color, and there are 3 types, each sensitive to different wavelengths: red, green, and blue. So, the colors we see are a combination of these. It's a bit like mixing paint, but a bit more complicated. And for some people, like those with color blindness, the experience of color is different. About 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women worldwide experience some sort of color vision deficiency, which means their perceptions of color can be significantly different from what most people see. For example, people with red-green color blindness might see reds and greens as more similar shades of brown, which can affect everything from choosing ripe fruits to interpreting traffic lights. But here's where it gets interesting. Our perception of color isn't just biological, it's also cultural, and this is seen with how different cultures categorize colors uniquely. For example, in Russia there are distinct terms for light blue and dark blue. This linguistic distinction can influence how speakers of Russian perceive and categorize these colors compared to English speakers who use blue for both. The Himba people of Namibia have a unique color categorization system. They use a different set of color terms that group colors in ways that seem unusual to us. For instance, they have a single term that includes what we would call green and blue, but several distinct terms for different shades of green. Meaning that what we say is our favorite color can be influenced by where we grew up and the societal norms that we were exposed to. In terms of color associations, in Japan, white symbolizes purity and simplicity, while in many Western cultures, it is associated with weddings and cleanliness. In contrast, in some African cultures, white is worn in funerals, signifying a connection to the spiritual world. Red is often used in sales to create a sense of urgency, while blue is used by banks and tech companies to convey trust and security.
My favorite color is pink because my favorite flowers are cherry blossoms, so they remind me of each other.
My favorite color is like a sky blue because when I was little, I just remember sitting out and just looking at the sky.
And mine is green because it reminds me of nature. So as you can see, our individual experiences and associations play a big role in our color preferences. These experiences create emotional connections that influence which colors we find appealing. For instance, from a young age, we're exposed to certain colors more than others. Toys, clothes, and even marketing can steer us towards specific colors. A study published in the Journal of Psychological Science found that children often prefer colors that they associate with gender-typical toys and activities, which vary from culture to culture. Our environment also plays a role. People who grew up in different climates and surroundings often have different color preferences. Someone from a lush green region might have a different favorite color compared to someone from a desert environment. These environments leave lasting impressions on us. Think about the colors you associate with your favorite places or memories. It's no surprise that these experiences shape our preferences. A study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people's favorite colors can shift depending on recent experiences, such as their mood or even seasons. For example, people might prefer warmer colors like red and orange during winter, and cooler colors like blue and green during summer. So, what does this mean about your favorite color? It means that it's inherently ambiguous. It's a combination of physical factors, cultural influences, and personal experiences. You might be familiar with this optical illusion with 2 gray boxes, where one appears darker against a white background and lighter against a black background. It's a perfect example of how our brains interpret the same visual information differently based on the surrounding context. Our brains automatically adjust for the surrounding light and color, which causes us to see the boxes differently, although they're the same color. Our perception of color is also impacted by Gestalt principles, which are ways that our brains process complex images. For instance, with the principle of similarity, objects that look similar will be grouped together in our minds, which affects how we see patterns in color. When we look at screens or printed material, we don't see individual dots of ink or the pixels in the screens. Our brains blend these small elements into the colors we perceive, and with the help of color constancy, we're able to recognize colors under varying lighting conditions and contexts. Our brains are constantly working to make a coherent image with the sensory information that they receive. This ability to perceive the whole rather than just the individual parts affects our everyday lives. But there's even more to it. Our memories and the tendency to unconsciously alter past experiences, known as reconstructive memory, means that a color you vividly remember might be different than what it actually was. Something which can change each time you revisit the memory and with time, further demonstrating the subjectivity of color perception. Imagine if a key color term like yellow didn't exist. We might try to explain it by combining other colors. Perhaps a mix of green and red, but it wouldn't be the same. Some animals perceive the world different than us. For example, certain birds and insects are able to perceive a broader range of the light spectrum, making them able to see colors like ultraviolet. So, if their color was infrared, how would they describe it to us? They might compare it to the warmth we feel from the sun or our heat lamp, but we wouldn't truly understand it because it's beyond our visual capacity. In the same way, we can't really visualize our world in a four-dimensional space beyond mathematical models because it's beyond our capacity of lived experiences. This thought experiment shows that there's no single right way to perceive the world. Our experience of color is just one version of reality shaped by our biology and experiences. Well, that's a whole topic in philosophy, which we don't have time to cover right now. Now, let's dive into specifics. There are many ways to describe a color, including hex codes, RGB values, and terms like hue, saturation, luminosity, chroma, etc. For example, this purple would be represented differently in an RGB value versus a hex code. Each system provides a standardized way to describe a color that ensures consistency in reproduction, regardless of personal perception. However, even with these precise systems, the way colors appear can still vary depending on the display technology, such as LED versus OLED, or the brightness settings on the screen. This means that even if you share your favorite color with someone online through a hex code, it might look slightly different to them based on the unique device's display. So why does this matter? Next time you think about your favorite color, consider all of these factors and how that might have influenced your choice. Is it really your favorite color because of intrinsic qualities, or is it predetermined and shaped by your life experiences and cultural upbringing? And however you justify it, how are you going to communicate it to people from different backgrounds? Color is a complex and subjective experience influenced by both objective measures and individual perception. Understanding the ways to describe and communicate color can help us appreciate its intricacies and the unique ways we each see the world. And with that being said, thank you for watching. Comment down below what your favorite color is and why.